How many of you call yourself a feminist? Raise your hand. Not too many. Okay, let me ask another question. How many of you believe every single human being, plus the married one, deserves to follow their dreams, to achieve their personal goals, to pursue happiness regardless of their nationalities, race, and gender? Raise your hands. Woohoo! Look at the hands. Well, I have news for you. If you believe in human rights, you are feminist. Welcome to the board. There are lots of institutes, NGOs, groups, communities out there who are working on human rights. Some of them concentrate on women's rights. Plenty of them out there working on women's empowerment. For past 20 years, I was working with local and international communities to help women to find their voice. So today, I'm going to share some of the most important lessons I've learned during all these years. But let me start my story from nearly 30 years ago. Back in 1990, my home country, Iran, was #1 destination for refugees, mainly from Afghanistan and Pakistan. According to Migration Policy Institute, in 1990s, we had 3.5 million refugees in our country, 6% of our own population. Some of you are old enough to remember that in 1980 to 1988, we had a war between Iran and Iraq. So 1990 was a post-war situation in our country. And now you can imagine all the financial and social challenges that we face in our country with 3 million refugees, post-war situations. Those days, I was an undergraduate student. Now I feel so old. I joined the Red Crescent as a volunteer, and finding like-minded people there, we decided to help refugee women. We purposely chose 3 women who had kids, abusive husband, drug addicted, and we decided to do a small fundraising for them to teach them something to make them financially independent. So we approach our families, we ask for money. Dad, can you give me a little bit money? So we finally bought a sewing machine. What we had in our mind was, first step in empowerment is financial independency. We were young. We started to teach them tailoring. We started to bring customers to them to make money. Everything was fine. Till one midnight, I received a call from one of my teammates. Nazli, one of those empowered women, she's in hospital. She was beaten badly by her husband because she refused to give him her own money. This injuries are so serious. What we have to do? She was extremely upset, and I was speechless. For so long, we blame ourselves for what happened. It took that woman 6 months to walk again. And we never dared to go back to that part of city. Moving forward, a few years ago, I was working with refugee women in Malaysia with other volunteers. We had projects called income generating activities. We teach them soap making, gardening, cooking, sewing, and we help them to sell their products in local bazaars. Although we put so much effort in provide training, give them free facilities, we realized that the attendance level is considerably low. And when we ask them, what's going on, why you didn't join our training, or why you didn't come for class yesterday, the most frequent excuse that they use was, my husband was so angry yesterday, I didn't dare to ask permission to leave home. My husband was not in mood to take care of kids. If I come to your class, who is going to cook for my husband and kids? One day, in one of communities, I asked one of the men, where's your wife? Why she didn't come for our classes? And he told me, Nazli, I don't want my wife to be like you. I want her to be a real woman. Take care of my kids and stay at home. Feeling so disappointed and heartbroken that nobody wants to be like me, I went back home. And to stop negative thinking and like all the thoughts and feelings, I started to watch TED Talk. I was lucky enough to watch one of the most popular TED Talks given by Professor Dan Ariely. He's a behavioral economist, and in his TED Talk and in his book, Predictably Irrational, he's talking about all the factors that affecting your decision making. Why you behave like that? Why you make that decisions? And he said, you choose somebody, you put him in a situation, he will behave in one way. You put him in another situation, he will behave in another way. And that was my answer. I chose the wrong target groups. To empower women, you shouldn't focus on them. You should focus on communities and the families as well. These are factors affecting the whole process of empowerment. So what we did was, we keep one group of women to continue the income generating activities, but we started other groups in communities, and we invite all adults to join us. We didn't mention anything about gender. We didn't say anything about women. What we told them is, hey, there is an opportunity for us to learn together how to make better decisions. You know, you can think more effectively and you can make more money. So everybody come. When you talk about money, people come, right? So this is what happened. We designed some classes under changing mindset coaching. In these classes, we train our co-facilitators to indirectly empower women, to let them talk, to lead them to share their opinion. But don't mention it, obviously. We try to create a safe space for women to talk. We encourage them to share their opinion and tell us that I think, and we emphasize on I, to help them to improve their self-confidence. We try to design rewards, from physical rewards in first session to the public recognition in all other sessions. So they feel so proud of themselves that they did something. And last but not least, we try to celebrate everything as a team. We make sure we never mention anything about women. Everything together. So we encourage them to share their stories. And when they start to talk, we find a lot of problems and challenges that we were not ever about them before. So after 1 year of coaching, I'm so proud to present this result. You remember we had a control group of women only. They work on generating income. And we had these couple groups that we encouraged them to join as a couple, husband and wife, and men and female mix. So before and after the coaching, we distribute the survey and we measure the self-confidence of women. In the second group, you can see the difference that they reported a higher level of self-confidence. And we asked them before and after the session, the level of participation in decision-making at home. So after the session, the couple group, they reported a higher level of participation. But what makes me to feel proud of ourselves is the last one. We asked them if they have an abusive partner. If yes, we asked them if there is any changes after our training. And this group, they said that around 80% of the decrease in what they report, abusive behavior. And I'm so proud of that. It's not 100%, but it is something. It's more than zero. So let me put everything in context to close. Most of us like to influence others. I believe the best way to influence is to empower people. Here are 3 key components in empowerment. Number 1, a lot of time we intend to overestimate the power of individuals. Everything happens outside and all external factors affecting us and our feeling. We have to learn it's okay not to be okay. Next time, when you want to talk about empowerment, remember that everybody is full of insecurities, negative emotions, and doubts, and fears. Let them know that all the fears are understandable and acceptable, but giving up is not an option. Number 2, power comes from within. The whole process of empowerment is to facilitate and to help people to find their inner voice and their strength and their talents. So our job is to work on their mindset. Because if you teach them how to think effectively, they will find their own financial and personal solutions. Number 3, financial independence is very important. It's crucial when you face poverty, but it's not first step in empowerment. The first step is communication. To listen to them actively so they can trust you. They can share their life stories with you. And they can tell you that how bad is the feeling inside when they have nowhere to go or no one to talk. If they trust you, they will open their heart to you. And the good thing about that is, when you ask them what's wrong, at the first they may say something about their problem, but when they open their life stories to you, most of the time you find the problem is somewhere else. So when you have more information, you can give them better solutions. And when you know the real problems, you can create a platform for them to achieve their personal goals, to overcome the obstacles that they have. When I talk about empowerment, people think that I'm talking about refugee women and underprivileged women. Empowerment is about me and you. It's about your husband, your wife, your sister, your brother, your parents, your kids, next generation. Next time, when you look at other people, tell yourself, as a member of this society, this is my responsibility to listen to people and help them to find their inner voice. This is my duty to create a platform for everybody to achieve their personal goals. I believe this is human rights. I believe in human rights. Do you? Thank you.